Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is Cheryl. We're with the Saturday Morning Sun popped on the floor with a big bowl of sugar and cereal. All your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris. And wait, are you Joseph or are you Jobot 3000, which was the replacement robot I started building in case you didn't get your new studio finished set up? And I mixed up which one of you is which.
Well, it's not finished being set up yet, but I saw that I was in the process of being replaced, so I had to come in and at least jump into this episode before the robot took complete control.
Oh, okay.
And I've
okay,
also
cool.
sabotaged him, so I wouldn't recommend working on him any further.
Oh, dude, I spent weeks building that stupid robot.
Dude, just use him as a blender or something. Do you need a new toaster?
Okay.
There you go.
That's true. I did build a toaster slot in its butt because I thought it'd be funny.
Perfect. But this morning, we watched Pryde of the X-Men.
X-Men.
Oh my God, hold on. There is like controversy over what that actual lyric is, and no one knows for sure, and it's impossible to tell. Because
Okay,
let me say,
explain.
that when I look up lyrics for it, because I was curious if they had any, it's quoted as saying, "This is today." And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then the one that most of the other sites agree on is "saves the day." And I was like, it doesn't even sound like saves at all. There's no way it can be saves.
Doesn't sound like saves.
I disagree. What it sounds more to me like is faces the day, but that doesn't even make much sense. So it's like, what are these random words being spat out of this singer's mouth? Because the rest of the lyrics make sense. Like you can hear them, they're understandable, but it's that one part, which is a big part, it just doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what they actually say there, and neither does the world.
No one knows. Ever since I was a kid, I never knew what it was. The only part I know is like X-Men.
Yeah,
They just kind of mumble that second part. But that's the thing is like this is the most like bad cartoon intro song ever that no one actually even knows the words to.
Yeah, it's only really second to the other X-Men song.
The other one, yeah. Which is like, they're just like, you know what, let's just drop lyrics altogether and just go with the tune. Exactly.
So, okay, I guess we should also add that this was an episode that was done for my birthday pick, because it's been one that we have talked about forever. Like, ever since we were doing Nerds on Tap, which was a podcast that preceded this one. And we talk about this and mention parts of it here and there. And we always have to bring up Australian Wolverine. Just because that's like common nerd knowledge now. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I just wanted to bring it up. This is my birthday pick, so it's not like it was on the list. I mean, it might have been, but we've done it now. I had to choose it. And this is a belated birthday for me, which was on the 11th. And we're recording now because of the whole moving thing and the robot almost taking over my position. Yep. So, yeah, I'm back and hopefully for good. And hopefully I don't get replaced by the toaster.
I do like that you brought that up about Nerds on Tap, because remember at one point our other co-host Jim missed an episode or two, and we basically made a robot Jim also.
Was that one where you just used like sound bites of him and just shoved him in there? Yeah, I do remember that. That's what you should have done with me.
Remember Robot Jim?
I repeat myself a lot. I'm sure you could have constructed something to talk about this episode just without me altogether.
Oh, definitely, but no. It's too much work.
Right. That's fair. So Pryde of the X-Men was a pilot for the X-Men. It was going to be like the first official X-Men cartoon series, and it aired in 1989. So this was only a single episode thing created by, the characters were created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Lin Wayne, Dave Cockrum, Chris Claremont, and John Byrne. And this is like all the characters together, like X-Men in general, or Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and then all the characters, all the other guys. This was written by Larry Parr, directed by Ray Lee as direction supervisor, and Stu Rosen as voice director, produced by Marvel Productions, New World Television, Toei Animation, which was uncredited, Baker and Taylor Entertainment, and Metro Light Studios.
Do you think the voice director is embarrassed about Australian Wolverine?
You know what? I saw him trying to defend himself in like a certain passages I had read where he's like,
really?
Well, Australians were popular at the time. I don't know what was coming out. I think it was like Crocodile Dundee or some stuff like that. And so it's like Australian accent was popular at the time. So we wanted to retcon him. And instead of him being Canadian, we were going to make him Australian. But then like he had already been quoted in the comics as being Canadian. And Wolverines are not native to Australia at all. So none of that would have made sense. So whether he's telling the truth or not about that, or whether he just flubbed it, because the other reason that I see for that a lot is because at one point Wolverine calls, in this case, Toad a dingo, but he was supposed to originally call Pyro a dingo because Pyro is Australian.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
And that's where they got the idea is like, oh, he's saying dingo. He must be Australian. And so they just use that instead of the Canadian accent.
Oh, no.
They get no Canadian love in this, but there's 2 Australians.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, if you think about it, I guess you don't want Wolverine to have a Canadian accent either, because then he would just sound ridiculous, you know?
Well, I mean, only when he said like a boot.
What are you talking about, bub?
What are you talking about, Kitty Pryde?
That'd be awful.
So this was, like I said, one episode. It was first run syndication, so it aired, all over the place. We were only 4 years old when it came out, so I have no idea how we originally saw it.
Blockbuster Video.
Maybe. I mean, that's
how I saw it.
It did have its own VHS release, so it's very possible.
It's absolutely how I saw it.
Just as Teenage Mutant Kitty Pryde is welcome to the X-Men, the team of mutant heroes are called into battle to prevent Magneto and his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from crashing a comet into the Earth. This was the most generic Magneto or bad guy plot ever. It's like, whenever you resort to crashing a meteor into Earth, you're out of ideas. This is your first idea.
I did like, though, that they threw in that it was Asteroid M. And that was something I appreciated, because that was kind of a nice little nod.
That's cool. There are things, as weird as some of this cartoon was, there are things that I really did like about it. And we'll talk about those some. But who are some of the actors who played in this?
There was a lot. And just because of the love I have for this very obscure cartoon, I'm going to name them all. Well, I'm not going to name any of the random soldiers that you never learn their names, but
you got to name Colonel Jaffe.
Yeah, you remember that? But I'm not going to say who that was, just on spite. But Professor Xavier was voiced by John Stevenson, doing his best impression of Donald Sutherland. Because when I was listening to it, I was like, is that Donald Sutherland? Is it? No, it's not. It's not him. But it sounds like him.
You know what, though? I did like this version of Professor X more than I did the 90s cartoon version. Because the 90s cartoon version was so nasally in comparison.
Oh, yeah.
This one actually had like strength to it. Like it was a commanding voice.
I'm there with you. I actually really liked his voice on this. So great job, John Stevenson. Big fan of Donald Sutherland. I'm sure he is. So I just yoded that, where I said the line backwards. Okay. Voice of Kitty Pryde. If you couldn't tell, Joseph, was provided by Kath Soucie.
At her whiniest.
Yeah. Just she's got the same voice for everything, but God love her. Cyclops, voiced by Michael Bell. Storm, voiced by Andy Chapman.
Storm sounded almost identical to the cartoon Storm, too, the 90s Storm.
Oh, yeah, this Storm was great. You know what? Both Cyclops and Storm sounded really good. Storm did sound like the 90s one. I like this Cyclops way better. Like, he sounded like, remind me of like a
leader?
I don't know. This one here reminded me of like, I don't know, like a G.I. Joe, like yelling at some Cobra dude. Like he really had some throat to him.
Yeah.
And we need a Cyclops that sounds intimidating because he's usually just dumb.
This Cyclops, again, was less whiny than 90 Cyclops and just sounded like someone you wanted to follow the lead of.
Colossus was voiced by Dan Gilvezan. Wolverine, voiced by Patrick Piney in an Australian accent. Nightcrawler, voiced by Neil Ross. Dazzler, voiced by Alexandra Stoddart. Magneto, voiced by Earl Bowen. And dude, I loved the Magneto voice of this one too. He was everything about Magneto in this was great. Like, he was super intimidating. He had a real commanding voice. Like, he was just animated really well. Just had an awesome presence. Pyro, voiced by Pat Fraley. Juggernaut by Ron Gans. Blob, voiced by Alan Oppenheimer. Didn't see that one coming.
I had no idea until I saw the voices or the voice actors to it, because I was like, it's almost the opposite, because it's like Skeletor, Blob. They're opposite ends of the spectrum, but he does both of them so well.
I know. It was I would have had no idea.
Because that's the voice that I associate when I think of Blob. And it's mainly because of the arcade game that went along with this one.
The arcade game based off of this is fantastic. It's the best X-Men game ever.
I agree.
I will say
Agreed.
It's the best. No one moves the blob. The White Queen, who is not credited as Emma Frost, just the White Queen, voiced by Susan Silo, Toad, and Lockheed. And you probably won't be surprised here, voiced by Frank Welker. And then finally, the lovable narrator, voiced by Stan Lee, the man himself. Excelsior!
Yeah, this was a great cast, and some of the voices worked better than others. Wolverine, just because of the weird flub, but for the most part, I was all for him.
Yeah, I really like all the voice cast of this. I mean, the guy that did Wolverine, if he didn't do an Australian accent, he probably would have been super great.
Yeah,
but everyone else was great. You know, the only thing I didn't like, and I'll go ahead and say this now, I don't like Toad in this one. I don't like that they made him like the I don't know, the dumb sideshow freakish kind of dude that sounds like, I don't know, Peter Lorre with some head trauma. Yeah, I didn't care for that. I think that was a bad move.
I'm kind of on the opposite end there, because I like this version of Toad, because I like Toad as a weird lackey. That's just always been the Toad as I've thought of him.
Yeah.
Even though they've updated him in cool ways, and like in other shows he's had more of a pivotal role, but this is my version of Toad, only because, and I think it's mainly because of the X-Men cards I was collecting when I was around that age. Because that's how Toad was portrayed. And so I just always associate Toad with that weird get up and sounding all like lackey-ish and, as you said, Peter Lorre-ish.
Yeah, I don't mind like the look as much. I just don't like them. And the voice is kind of, but like it's more the mannerisms, like how dumb he is. Like, he's basically a child in a man's body. I like a Toad that's a little bit smarter than that, but still a lackey.
Yeah,
but that's me getting picky.
And I think in the comics at one point he is really intelligent, because he becomes like one of the at least co-leaders of the Brotherhood.
That's correct. And I gotta say real quick, because they are called the Brotherhood of Mutant Terrorists in this one, that's a little on the nose. So they weren't pulling. They were just like, this is what it is. Here you go.
I mean, in later iterations, they really just start to call them the Brotherhood, which makes more sense. But originally, they were the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and then Brotherhood of Terrorist Mutants. So it's like, all right, you're very on the nose. We know what you're up to.
Right.
But here are a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Pryde of the X-Men cereal. So funding for this pilot came from the budget for RoboCop 1988. Instead of making a 13th episode of RoboCop, Marvel Productions decided to use their funding to have Toei Animation produce the animation for this pilot instead. And we actually reviewed RoboCop 88 with Childhood Remastered back in one of their episodes. I don't know what number it was of theirs.
Oh, that's right.
But it wasn't our show. It was their show.
On ours. So yeah, you'll never hear it on our show specifically, but if you go to Childhood Remastered, you can hear it there.
But to tie that together in another way, Kath Soucie played one of the voices in Toxic Crusaders, which Childhood Remastered did with us on our show.
That's right.
There you go. All the tie-ins. Frank Welker, Neil Ross, and Dan Gilvezan had previously worked on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which we also just watched. Well, I say just. It was probably like 15, 20 episodes back. Yeah. Gilvezan had played Spider-Man, Welker had played Iceman, and Ross had played Wolverine. So Wolverine wasn't in all of them, but he did co-star in there sometimes.
Yeah.
The pilot was the last entry and effectively into the animated Marvel universe by DePatie Frayling Enterprise / Marvel Productions, which started with the Fantastic Four from 1978. So this was kind of the nail in the coffin of that Marvel Animated Studios.
And I don't know why, because I really enjoyed. I mean, there's flaws, but overall, I really like this.
I agree with you, and I think the more we go into it, maybe we can start to unfold that a little bit. But I ultimately think that maybe it just wasn't the right time for it or something. I'm not sure. Or maybe the characters just weren't popularized enough in the animated universe to really hit. I don't know.
I guess that could be.
So this pilot aired infrequently in syndication and was later released onto video. And it later served as the basis for Konami's X-Men arcade game, which we had mentioned earlier. But it honestly is not only probably the best X-Men video game, but one of my favorite arcade games of all time.
Yes, easily. My favorite arcade games of all time, this and then Turtles in Time.
Yeah, Turtles in Time, absolutely. This one, even the Simpsons one. And I think...
Yeah, Simpsons one's good too.
Do you remember the Avengers arcade game where one of the first levels you fight Venom, who like grows to gigantic proportions? Remember that?
I don't remember that.
Okay,
no.
Maybe it's called like Captain America and the Avengers or something. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's an arcade game where you can play as Captain America, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, I think Vision, and I'm not sure who else, but yeah, we'll have to play it sometime if we can find it.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so that's all for the marshmallows. You've clearly heard of this and you enjoyed it as a kid. I don't know if we need to really... okay, I'll say it this way. What are your memories of it? Like, how did you hold this before we came in and watched it? What were your thoughts on this?
Well, honestly, I mean, I think this was part of what sparked my love for X-Men was seeing this. And I, like I said before, I think I somehow got this from like Blockbuster, because when I was a little kid, we'd go to Blockbuster and then I would rent VHS tapes, usually of either Ninja Turtles or Transformers. And I think that we got this somehow. And I remember watching it over and over and over because I was in love with this thing. I loved the characters. I loved how everything looked. I loved how it sounded. And I think this is really what got me into X-Men, because then all of a sudden I was wanting toys. And then I started I was like, I got to read the comics and all kinds of stuff. So, and then obviously, you know, the other show came later and that just kind of solidified it. But this was definitely my first foray into the X-Men world.
Yeah, I think it might have been mine too. Like prior to my dad and I collecting the cards together, prior to me owning any of the toys, probably even prior to me actually playing that arcade game, I had seen this. And this was around the same time, for me at least, when I was watching like He-Man, Dino Riders, all that kind of stuff. And so this was just part of my cartoon universe for me. Like all of the weird things that we can pick apart as an adult, like none of that mattered as a kid. It was just flashing colors, like cool battles, awesome characters. And they were also unique. And I had no qualms with Wolverine being Australian at that point because I had no idea. I didn't know any better.
Same.
So it was like, all right, this guy's just an Australian dude. Fine with me.
And the voices stuck with me, for a long time. Aside from Wolverine, most of these voices are the ones that I hear when I'm reading the comics.
Wow. For me, I think it's probably more than 90s cartoon for most of them. But I do hold on to that Professor X voice as Professor X, as opposed to the one who's like...
That's exactly how it sounds.
That really is.
No, but like the bad guys, and then for me it's mostly like Cyclops, Dazzler, Nightcrawler, Colossus especially. Those are the voices that I hear.
When I think of Pyro,
Pyro, yes, his voice is great.
The Blob, same thing. Like Alan Oppenheimer, like that makes me like him even more. That's Blob's voice to me. In the same way that Kevin Conroy is Batman's voice, this is Blob's voice.
And I do real quick just want to say that I also love the Juggernaut just because of that one line that he's like, "Step brother." He does like a Randy Savage thing.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
So I guess, we've been talking about it for a while. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. We only watched one episode because that's all there was. It's got the typical, well, not typical for all shows, but back in the day, Stan Lee used to open for a lot of these shows, and this is no exception. where he's talking about like, look around and anybody could be a mutant and like beware of the mutants or whatever. Like just kind of like setting the stage for like the climate of this world where mutants are feared by humans for the most part because of mutants like Magneto and his Brotherhood of Terrorist Mutants, which are, of course, trying to cleanse the world of humans.
And it was an excellent intro by Stanley. Like, it just gets you hyped.
And then the opening scene was great, too, where so Magneto, I don't know how he got captured, but he was in like a holding cell inside of like a Humvee or something. Some kind of like military tank thing. And we see White Queen coming. I mean, he's trying to like fight his way out or whatever, but whatever restraining thing is around him is holding him in, even with his mutant powers. And so we see White Queen come up and start to throw some like, I guess they're like telekinetic spears at the trucks.
They kind of like did a Psylocke thing with her in that way, where she could create like, psychic weapons and stuff.
Right. But I remember that so well from the video game too, is her throwing those.
That was really cool. Yeah, and then she basically breaks him out of there, and just like the look of him as he like gets out of that chamber and the way he pulls the cape and stuff like that. I was just like, God, that's awesome.
Before we say anything else, 90s animation was good, but this animation was like top notch. Like This animation was so good. If they had kept the whole series like that, I would have been in the entire time.
Oh yeah, I can easily say this looks 100 times better than the 90s cartoon. Love it.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess they just really milked that RoboCop budget for it because they did a great job.
The way that the truck explodes outwards, like the metal when he comes out looks so cool. Like it's almost just like it like bubbles and then bursts open. And I just like, the way they animated all this stuff was great. I love the illusion that White Queen does with all the army guys, where she makes them all think that their vehicles are all sinking into quicksand and they're like trying to swim themselves out of it and sinking. But we see once they leave that nothing actually happened.
Yeah, I like
that. They're just all on the ground like, what?
I like that reveal, how it fades out and shows that there was nothing happening. So she's kind of a dual threat because she's got the telekinetic powers to throw those spears and whatever, and also telepathic powers to cast illusions.
Yeah, it's kind of like they took White Queen and they're just like, let's make her Psylocke and Mastermind instead of Emma Frost. But
yeah,
it's whatever. It was she was still a good character.
She has a very raspy voice too. Like she sounds like a witch.
I think that was kind of cool. I liked it.
It worked for her.
Then it kind of goes over to the Xavier Mansion Institute, whatever it is in this iteration.
School for Gifted Youngsters,
that
or
one.
Whatever, yeah.
We see Kitty Pryde looking like a 30-year-old getting out of a taxi. She's supposed to be 14, but she looks 30. Like she looks as old, if not older, than the other characters.
Do you think that's because they didn't want, or they couldn't show like a kid being like put into as much danger as she was put in?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just a poor choice of design on her part. Like, because I mean, they were obviously going for like the 80s hair and fashion, and it just made her look.
It was the 80s, so that makes sense.
But they went with like a look that was older than what a teenager her age would have been wearing. Because I mean, her hair looked like April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. It was like really big and curly. And
yeah, she was pulling off like a soccer mom look as we know them today. Yeah,
it was weird. But the introductions to each of the characters was really great. So like she meets Xavier first, obviously, and he's kind of talking her through everything. And just his voice is just so pleasant to listen to. I loved it. And the introductions were great. Like he shows them all in the danger room and you get to see each one of them kind of showing off their powers to fight something. And Xavier's kind of explaining their name and what their powers are.
I appreciated that Dazzler was a part of this because this is the first and only time I think that she's ever been, like, at least in any series, part of the X-Men.
And I like Dazzler a lot. And it sucks that they threw Dazzler in as a throwaway character in the movies in like the worst X-Men movie they've ever done, which was this last one.
Let me tell you what's worse is that they replaced Dazzler with Jubilee in the 92 animated series.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially the same powers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just only or Jubilees don't activate by sound or something. They're just sparkly lights.
Makes them. Yeah. Yeah. Dazzler's a really cool character. What's interesting though is I can't remember if the outfit she's wearing in this is something that she ever wears in the comics. In the comics, she's usually in that like white or blue kind of jumpsuit kind of thing with the face paint on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that a lot.
But this was like 90s,
totally different here.
This was like 80s rocker Dazzler.
Yeah, this was like we took a model from Captain Planet and then yeah, because she looks like a Planeteer. So
that's true. Yeah, she's like Linka 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got Colossus, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine, and Dazzler. I think that's all.
So obviously this was kind of a throw to like giant size X-Men more than like that kind of era than
yes. And I'm glad that you brought that up because that's the introduction to most of the second gen characters.
Yeah.
Was at giant size where they fight Krakoa, the living island.
Yeah. And if I remember right, Cyclops was the only original member that was still with them.
Yes, you are correct.
I am correct.
Yeah, but this kind of deep cut stuff I was talking about before the episode started, where we're gonna get caught in these webs of nerdy X-Men knowledge. So one thing I wanted to bring up, and this comes up a couple times. So you know how Professor X is able to like read Magneto's thoughts?
Yes.
What is the purpose of Magneto's helmet if not to block telepathic interference?
Looks awesome, dude. It looks.
Because what I was looking up was like I was trying to find an article on like or just information on like when was the first time that was used to block telepathic powers, and I couldn't get a clear answer on it. But it seems like from very early on that was the purpose of him wearing that helmet at all was to block Professor Xavier's psychic intrusions. But in this, they don't seem to care. He's just like, oh yeah, Magneto's gonna do some stuff, and here's exactly what it is and where. So go X-Men.
Well, what if the whole time, like, Magneto's only thought it would block it? Like, it's the equivalent of him making a tinfoil hat. He's like, oh, they can't get to the government can't get to my thoughts now. Those aliens can't get me. I made a helmet and I'll put it on. That'll protect me. And Xavier's like, what? Why would that do anything?
Or maybe Xavier's planted it in his head that it is working.
Ooh,
so that he can just feel like he can think freely, and Xavier has an easier time navigating his thoughts.
Right. He's just like, I can subtly get in there and just take a look. Yeah. I like that. There's like a crisis alert somewhere, and the X-Men have to leave on the Quinjet, and they're like, Kitty Pryde, you literally have been here 5 minutes. You can't go with us, even though she really wants to. And like, as you suspect, it is a trap. I think even one of them said something about it being a trap, maybe.
Yeah, it's like Juggernaut and Magneto like come around from behind a tree and they're like, all right, great, they left. Let's go crash
they're
the
just
place.
hiding behind a tree.
Yeah.
Especially because Juggernaut is so huge. He's like as tall as a freaking tree.
I know. It's like as they were flying around in a twin jet, like it'd be funny if someone's just thinking like, I don't remember that big red tree being there. Oh, well.
What's that big red rock? Well, yeah. That's fine. We'll go. But what's funny, too, that I was thinking was, Xavier could have, as soon as he saw that it was a trap and that they were on the way, because he's got like all these webcams basically installed outside. He could have just called them back really quickly, but instead he's just like, we'll see what happens.
Well, yes and no, because there were people in trouble on the other side of things. And so I think he would have prioritized saving them over himself. And Kitty, she's new. It doesn't matter.
Kitty doesn't matter. Yeah, Kitty just, if anyone's familiar with her powers, she can phase through things. And when she does it through electronics, it messes them up. So like in the midst of this attack, she phases through the computer, Cerebro. And so all of the outside defenses, because Xavier he belongs to the NRA. and he's got like tons of guns and turrets and stuff set up in his front yard. You would think, just to get rid of squirrels and stuff getting a little too close, all these machine guns. But she messes it all up. So they go hang wire, and Juggernaut can basically just run right through it and has nothing to stop him.
He's just like, Kitty, you've messed up the security system.
I know. And then, Juggernaut busts in like Kool-Aid Man style, but does the Randy Savage.
God, I wish he had said,
"Hey, stepbrother."
I wish he had said, "Oh yeah," as he busted in. That would have been so good.
Oh yeah, stepbrother. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so they stole. I guess what it was like. Basically, the battery to Cerebro, right?
Cerebro's power circuit.
So they stole that, and they're like, we're not going to bother defeating you or killing you. It's fine. We just got this, and we'll see you later. And they go back up to their asteroid.
And then on the other side of things, Cyclops and the rest of the team are having to try and save these people who are being attacked by Toad, Pyro, and Blob. So they were there to steal the coordinates to the Scorpio comet that was going to pass by Earth. They were stealing the coordinates to it from this observatory or something, I guess. And we get to see a little bit of the prejudice against mutants who look different, like Nightcrawler, because even after they save these victims from everyone, from Pyro and the Blob, the victims are scared of Nightcrawler and tell him to get away from their child or something. So
yeah. Why did they have a kid working at this observatory? Did anyone stop to ask what was going on?
Maybe he was just there doing his astronomy homework. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Something I forgot to mention earlier, when Kitty was introduced to the X-Men, Nightcrawler is like she's scared of Nightcrawler, not because he looks like Nightcrawler, but because he's creeping on her. Like he's just getting way up in her face, trying to kiss her hand and stuff. It's like, dude, like that's not cool.
Yeah, he's straight pervin.
Yeah.
I do like, though, they kind of carry that forward into X-Men Evolution, which is interesting because in that show, Kitty and Nightcrawler are both the same age. They're like, 14 or whatever in that show. And he kind of has like a bit of a crush on her, but she's kind of like repulsed by him. So I like that they brought that forward into that show. I just thought that was a really cool thing.
It's like anytime I see Kitty Pryde and Colossus together and knowing what's going to happen in the future, I'm just like looking for tells. But I'm like, they probably had no idea at this point that was going to happen.
Yeah. Where he looks 30 and she looks, she looks 30 in this, but she's not supposed to be.
Yeah. So what happens is like what they're trying to do, like I said before, is crash this comet that they got the coordinates to into Earth. And the way that they're doing that with the Cerebro core is putting it inside of Asteroid M's, like, I don't know, some circuit thing they've set up on Asteroid M to allow Magneto to enhance his magnetic powers in the same way that Professor X enhances his telepathic powers. And so he's enhancing these magnetic powers to grab hold of this asteroid and redirect it towards Earth to wipe out the majority of mankind.
Right. And that's weird to me. Like when Magneto kind of says his plan, he's talking about wiping out the majority of mankind in Earth so that like mutants could basically rule and take over. But like, I don't think comets discriminate, like I'm pretty sure that comet's going to wipe out just as many mutants as it's going to wipe out humans. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure mutants don't have any extra protection against comets crashing into them.
Comet
to my knowledge,
only for mutants.
I don't know what his plan was exactly. It wasn't a well thought out plan. Maybe it was just like a spur of the moment, like, oh great, this comet's passing by. I know what we could do.
He's just like, oh dude, I have the best idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw this thing on the news. I got an idea.
Yeah.
So all of the X-Men, minus Professor, are like, okay, we gotta get up there and we gotta stop him. And again,
just
they're kind of like,
we gotta stop him.
We gotta stop him. And they're like, Kitty, seriously, don't come with us. You just screw everything up. Like you're 2 years old. You've been here for 10 minutes now. Don't come with. So she comes with. She stows away.
Well, that's like after they tell her that, she's just like, I'll show you. I'll show you all.
It's like, man,
that's like a villainous like revenge type of talk right there. You sound real evil. Her powers are so like crazy in what they could actually do.
Yeah,
if she were to use them for
nefarious purposes.
For nefarious purposes, yes.
I went through this phase once where I actually found a book at a library, and it was actually about, I think it was called The Science of the X-Men. I recommend it for anybody. It's really interesting. And it's basically like, okay, if these powers could be real, you know, scientifically, what like would cause it, like, and then it kind of talks about like other applications of it too, and how powerful it really could be. And it got me thinking about like some of the other X-Men too, and like ways they could use their powers but never have. Like, if think about like Iceman could probably freeze the blood in somebody's body easily. And it's just like interesting things like that. So anyway, if you go see that, if you find that book somewhere, you should read it. It's pretty cool.
It's like when at one point, I don't remember when or how, Magneto's powers get enhanced to the point that he's able to like draw the metals out of your blood or something.
Oh yeah, he did that in X2 X-Men.
Oh,
United.
that's right. It was just one of the movies. But
too much iron in your blood.
That's right. I wonder. I wonder if with Kitty Pryde's phasing powers, like I feel like she would just fall through the floor the moment she turned it on. You know what I mean? Like, how is she able to just go through walls? And
no, it's possible. Yeah. That is called spintronics, by the way. Just if you like it's basically the act of like each atom and molecule spinning the same direction as whatever thing that she's trying to pass through, and then she can basically pass right through it because there's no resistance against the atoms. That's how that would work. Spintronics sounds like either a 90s band or a 90s album from like the Spin Doctors or something. Yeah, it's gonna be the follow up to the Prodigy. Spintronics.
Let's get back on track. If we ever were on any track.
Oh, Lockheed's up there on the asteroid too. He's
randomly
Magneto's little pet that he doesn't like. It's like a
little dragon.
It's like a stray cat that gets in your house and you can't get it out.
Do you know Lockheed's origin? Like, where does he come from? He's not a mutant.
No, he's an alien thing.
Oh, is he an alien for real?
I think so.
Okay, that would make more sense because I was like, I don't know if dragons exist.
I couldn't remember if he was an alien or if he came from another dimension, but I think he was an alien.
No, okay. I guess. I mean, that makes sense as much as, you know, that would make sense. But I was just trying to like figure out how he exists on this planet at all or why. They don't explain it. He's just up there with them.
Yeah, he's just hanging out, man. He's just doing his thing, doing little dragon things. So everybody gets up there and we get to see all of the X-Men pair off against each of the Brotherhood kind of in a linear order. Like we see Cyclops up against White Queen. So she's like throwing her spears and he's blasting them with his eyeball beams. Of course, we get to see the battle everyone always wants to see, Juggernaut versus Colossus, which is always going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We got Wolverine and Toad, another one everyone always wants to see. Ray calls him a dingo. I don't know. Who fought Pyro? Was that Dazzler?
I think so. Dazzler. I can't remember.
They don't call her Dazzler in this. They call her the Dazzler every time, which is stupid.
And then we've got Blob versus Nightcrawler,
which is funny.
And this is where he's just like, nothing moves the Blob, and then he's like, all right, and just kind of teleports past him.
He's like, I wouldn't try.
Yeah, I wouldn't dream of it.
Where did Storm go? Storm was up there somewhere.
Storm's doing stuff. I don't remember. They were all up there. It just got kind of mixed up here.
You know, I do like some very practical uses of their powers here. So as they're trying to get into Asteroid M or whatever, they have Cyclops blast a hole in it, and then Cyclops had told Storm that after he blows the hole in it, to use her powers to stabilize the atmosphere inside the ship. And I'm like, that is freaking genius. Like, that is a really cool way of them using their powers.
Yeah, like a practical way.
Yeah, in a practical way, in a way that we don't typically get in the 90s cartoon or anything else. And like, I don't know. It was just a really good show of how they can function as a team, too. I liked it a lot.
That was, yeah, I guess I didn't think much about that, but that is a really strong showing of them not just like expecting the audience to accept something. It's like, instead of just normally they would just like blast a hole in the ship, go in, and then it would cut the scene and they'd just be there. And you'd be like, but how? But what? And
like, how does that work?
You'd have questions, but they just like they cover their bases. And I appreciate that, too.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That was honestly that in retrospect, that's one of my favorite parts of that is that kind of scene. Because I was just like, man, like this is the kind of thing that like any X-Men show, movie, cartoon, whatever should be doing, like being smart about that stuff. I loved that.
Oh, yeah.
Nightcrawler just dies. No, like he gets in a bit of a fight with Magneto. Kitty comes out because she phased through everything and grabs Magneto's arm and is like, ah! And he shoots the circuit or a cable that's connected to that circuit that's pulling on Scorpio. But she basically disrupted everything, like all the stuff. But Scorpio's now like locked into its path unless they can complete the circuit again and then shift it just a little bit more past the Earth. So Nightcrawler's like, hey, I bet I won't electrocute myself. He grabs both ends of this cable and completes the circuit with his body. And I'm just thinking, wouldn't he just fry? Like, how did that work?
I was wondering that too. And I was thinking like, maybe it should have been Storm as a conduit there.
Oh, that would make so much more sense.
Since she could presumably handle electricity flowing through her. But I like what they did after they decided to use Nightcrawler. So it works out. So after he is serving as this conduit to help to redirect the comet back on its original path, he has to stay there this whole time while the professor does this. But the professor's like, all right, but you have to do it like right before it hits the asteroid. You have to teleport away or it's too late. He teleports at the very last second, but they don't think he does. And they're like, oh, no, he's waited too long. And then it's like, oh, no, he's fine. But now he's going into the Earth's atmosphere. He's going to burn up. And then it looks like he does. Like, and that like shows you kind of what the stakes were here. And I like that they went to that level where it's not like, oh, it's an immediate happy ending after this asteroid M is destroyed. It's like, wow, someone may actually die. And that's what it seems like has happened.
And they didn't have Thunderbird in this, so it was really going to be high stakes, you know?
Somebody had to go.
For those that don't know the deep cut, like when they did Giant Size X-Men, they introduced Thunderbird, who is Warpath's older brother. And he died like in like 1 or 2 issues. He was dead.
Yeah, he was introduced in that book to help to save the original X-Men and then died trying.
He died so fast. Yeah. But I always had wondered. So we did see something burn up. So what was it? But I noticed now that because when they think he's gone, and in fact, the professor who can read minds could probably just read his mind and know he's alive. But he's just like, nah, he's gone. Just let's move on. We'll get, people will point us out less because we don't have a blue guy with us. That's cool. But then they hear like a noise and he had teleported back into the Quinjet, but he's just in a locker. He got stuffed in a locker like a nerd. But he's not wearing his spacesuit when he's in that locker. So I'm guessing he teleported out of his spacesuit and into the Quinjet. So they did see the spacesuit itself burn up, I guess.
Yeah.
That's me trying to figure it out in my head.
Yeah, that's how I would rationalize it too. And that makes sense. And that is actually, if that's the case, that's really smart because it does help add to the drama of it. Even if that's not the case, I'd like to think it is.
And then he thanks Kitty Pryde for saving his life. And I'm like, she didn't. Like, what? She kind of
did. She kind of did because she grabbed Magneto's arm when he was like I'm going to kill you, die,
or
whatever.
But like, Magneto was just kind of given verbal threats. Like, he physically had nothing on Nightcrawler at the time.
But he was pointing his hand at him, and he was going to do some magnetic stuff to him. And that's
maybe.
Yeah, but that's when she redirected his hand.
Thank you for saving me from being pointed at, Kitty Pryde.
He was pointing very threateningly at me. I didn't like it.
His fingernail needed to be trimmed. He might have scratched me, and I might have gotten an infection. Then we get the epic outro narration by Stanley. That's great. Coming your way. I love that song, man.
It's really good. It's catchy. I just wish I knew the words to it. I know most of the words, just not one word to it.
I want to look it up really fast.
All right, I'm telling you, you're going to see either Saves the Day or you're going to see This is the Day.
I want to see what the rest of it. That's today,
what the world
this
thinks.
Today. Weird.
Does that sound right?
This today. I don't like that.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't want it to be this today. I don't want it.
I'm going to stick with like Faces the Day because they are facing the day at least.
Maybe it's facing the day.
That's what I mean.
Facing the day. Nah, it still doesn't sound right. I don't know.
I don't think we'll ever figure it out. It's a mystery, a lifelong mystery. Well, Chris, it looks like it's about time we send our inner kids off to the X-Mansion to be creeped out by Nightcrawler's complete lack of respect for personal space, then see what they thought of Pryde of the X-Men.
This cartoon was really great. It's exactly how I want to see my X-Men on a cartoon. Except for Wolverine. That was just weird. But I did give this cartoon 4.5 bowls of Dear Stepbrother cereal out of 5.
Honestly, I sort of have mixed feelings about this cartoon. On the one hand, the animation was superb, the character designs were faithful, and the high level of campiness was very appreciated. But on the other hand, the plot was very generic, the villains pretty non-threatening, and some of the voices not very fitting. I'm looking at you, Australian Wolverine. But on the other hand, this pilot did pave the way for the superior 90s X-Men series, have an amazing arcade game based on it, and have Skeletor voicing the Blob. So the good sort of outweighs the bad in this case. Overall, I give Pryde of the X-Men 4 big bowls of Blobberry cereal out of 5, and recommend you watch this one and check it off your X-Men watch list.
Yeah, honestly, there's so many X-Men cartoons out there, and like I think this is the first one that we did, right? I don't think we've done any of the other ones yet.
No, we really haven't. I know you've been talking about doing X-Men Evolution for the longest time.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to do that one before long. And there's so many other good ones too that I think they're on the list. Obviously we got the 90s series. There's Wolverine and the X-Men.
Oh, Wolverine and the X-Men was so good.
It was really good. The X-Men anime is pretty awesome too. I'm really excited to get into those. So
I really want to watch the 90s one just so I can bring in the episode of Mojo's World.
Oh,
because I enjoyed that, and I like Longshot as a character.
Longshots, you always talk about that being like one of your favorites.
I just love luck-based characters. I don't know.
Honestly, my favorite characters came because of the series. This cartoon made Colossus one of my favorite characters of all time. That was it was my introduction to Colossus, and I ended up loving him. So I would pretend to be him on the playground when all the kids are playing X-Men. And then the 90s series made Gambit my favorite. And Gambit's kind of remained my number one of all time, which is why I have his framed first appearance on my wall in the podcast room.
Nice.
But yeah, I love Colossus also. But yeah, and that's because of this cartoon.
You know what it would have been perfect? I know this was a precursor to the 90s series, but if they had mixed elements of this into that one more, like I know 90s, like Jim Lee Cyclops had his hair exposed and everything, but I always prefer Cyclops who has his head completely covered.
Yeah, I think he looks cooler here.
He doesn't have to wear like the little yellow like undies or anything. Like
yellow undies.
He could be like the what's the version? It's not Ultimate. What's Astonishing X-Men, where he's got like the blue tights on, and it's got like stripes down it.
Yeah,
that's a cool version of Cyclops. But honestly, I prefer. Oh, go ahead.
The X-Men anime is very modeled after Astonishing X-Men.
Really?
Just
I need to watch it.
As far as the looks, I mean, it does not follow that story, but the looks So do you have any final thoughts before we just keep going and never end?
It's great for X-Men fans, and especially X-Men fans who are around our age because of the arcade game attached to it. If you are an X-Men completionist, or not even just a completionist, if you are curious about it and you like the X-Men in general, please check it out because it is worth your time. It's only like 22 minutes or something anyway. So the characters really work for me. And there are a lot of elements I wish they had brought over from this to the 90s series that we are more familiar with. But it is what it is. And I do recommend you check it out, especially if you're an X-Men fan, because I think you'll find something to like.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think the pilot was a lot better than it gets credit for. I mean, it's got its flaws, but some of the characters are represented so well that it really sucks that this didn't kind of like go forward with more polish to it. And I don't mean by like the animation, but I mean some of the choices that they made. At least we did get the X-Men animated series, which had good stuff also. But like you said, it would have been really awesome if this had influenced it a lot more. So that would have morphed into something further with some edits to some of the characters like Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. I mean, the Wolverine from the 90s show was great. He would have been maybe better than this, but he would have fit in perfectly with this group.
Do you like brown costume Wolverine better or yellow blue?
Hard to say. Well, I'll say this. Wolverine tends to be depicted more gruffer and serious in the brown costume. And I like that. But I like the look of the yellow, blue, and black costume more.
I do usually like the look of the yellow, blue more because that's mainly what I'm used to from growing up in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you that when I think of like a gruffer Wolverine, I can't take him as seriously when he's in that bright yellow blue. Yeah. I think it should have really been toned down, and if not kept brown, then at least had darker shades of blue and yellow.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I just, I was thinking about this because you and I talk about this a lot, about how we would want to see the X-Men enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I really love this route where this, like a team of X-Men already kind of exists. Maybe, it's like more underground and people don't really know much about it. And then Kitty Pryde joining the school is used as our introduction into that world. Like that's what I would hope for. I mean, in a perfect world, the other X-Men movies that we've gotten the last few years wouldn't have been made. And it would be, that original team with Jean Grey being the introduction to that world. But with that being so, for lack of a better term, effed, I would love to see Kitty Pryde introduced as like a focal point for showing us this world of the mutants and the X-Men and stuff. So I love how this was set up. The animation was great. It was a great introduction for me as a kid, obviously, because this hooked me. So yeah, if you haven't seen it before, you should definitely look for it. It's pretty cool.
Well, listeners, it looks like our milk supply is now on dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Suggested via YouTube by Mike Root.
Oh, man.
Right?
I'm way into that. I love that movie.
Yeah, so we've had this nebulous thing, this unspoken question that actually has been spoken, just not by us. So a few listeners have asked, would we go into the world where we include live action crossed over with animation? And we kind of haven't addressed it for a very long time because I don't know. But once this got suggested, I was kind of like, yeah, we're gonna do that.
Nice.
So because of that, for those of you wanting us to do Detective Pikachu, because a few people have asked about that one I'm a little bit more unsure of, but I mean, this probably might pave the way for that. So there you go.
Yeah, it could. We just got to be careful because the more and more we give up like animated and CG and whatever, it'll turn into just like anything. Us reviewing movies in general. Yeah.
like Ready Player One, which is almost all animation. And
yeah, that's
we're not doing that.
That would be where I would draw the line.
We're definitely not doing that one. We'll talk more about Detective Pikachu and amongst ourselves, and we'll let you guys know. And you'll know by if you ever see it on the title of an episode.
And if you don't, then if you we talked about it and didn't work out.
Exactly.
Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.